Good morning, Jordan.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kessling. This is Judge Middleton. Can you hear me? Good morning, sir. Can you hear me? All right. Well, we're in hurry up and wait mode. Mr. Kessling, can you hear me?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We'll be starting here in just a moment. Please take your gum out before we start. We need to wait for your attorney to check in and the prosecutor. And
Your Honor, I represent Mr. Kessling.
all right, well, your lawyer is here. We're waiting till 11 for the prosecutor. I will let you both know we're live on YouTube. We'll be setting things up here in just a moment. So you're in the right spot, Mr. Kessling. Let me put you in the jury in the waiting room. Jordan, thanks for your work on all the pretrials for tomorrow. It looks like we're in pretty good shape, except for maybe one case.
I think everything's set for last.
So we kicked the can down the road on everything.
Well, I tried to get one resolved tomorrow, but I know there was an issue with the restitution, so it may get resolved earlier.
All right. We have two sentencings we're going to address here at 11 o'clock. One is an assault and battery and malicious destruction of property. The assault and battery charge was dismissed, and the charge that's left is malicious destruction of property. There may be some restitution issues in that case. The other case is a domestic violence second offense, which is theoretically set for a plea and sentencing. We're waiting for Attorney Luke Nossinger. In that case, Deborah Davis is on vacation this week. Casey Johnson, I think, will be with us from the prosecutor's office. And we should be able to start here in just a moment.
Tyrone Valentine is in custody.
Yes.
Do you want to cancel his bond until you see him?
Yes. Why were they going to let him out?
Yeah, they're going to let him out.
No, I sent an email out there to him. Hold on.
All right, I'll let Don know. Thank you.
I'll see him at 2 o'clock.
Right, okay.
I don't know if they got any input from the complainant in that case. I was hopeful that Casey would show up. I hope they're not still in the court next door. Let me take a brief look.
Okay.
Why don't you tell us something about yourself?
Yeah.
Well, here is Luke. They are finished in the court next door.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Mr. Kessling, we brought you back. It is 11 o'clock on the tick. We are on the record here. And this is file number 202085, People versus Zachary Thad Kessling. The allegation is that on or about September 1st that you made an assault and battery upon Austin Eby, and that is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. Count 2 alleges malicious destruction of property less than $200. Prosecutor dismissed the assault and battery charge for a plea to malicious destruction of property. He did file a crime victims' rights compensation request for $230.95, which included his bicycle and maybe some other things.
Your Honor, just for the record, at the pretrial on March 25th, the prosecution reported that the actual restitution amount was $193.
Give me that again.
$193.12.
All right. I'll start with you, Jordan. What would you like me to know?
Well, Your Honor, we still have to take the plea.
Oh, I thought we had taken it. Let me look at my register of actions.
Nope, it's up for plea and sentencing today.
That's true. I'm sorry. Let me bring in Mr. Minsky because I believe he's a plea and sentence also. One plus Nord. Mr. Minsky, can you hear me?
Yes, Your Honor.
All
Is that
right,
working?
Yes, I see your attorney, Mr. Knopfinger, is here with us. We've got two matters set for this morning. Both are set for plea, and I'll tell you both. Right now we're talking to Zach Kessling. Do you understand, Mr. Kessling, that by pleading to this charge, malicious destruction of property less than $200, the assault and battery charge would be dismissed? Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
By pleading to that, you give up your right to have a trial. If you had a trial, you'd have the right to take the witness stand and testify in your own behalf. But you don't have to, because you have an absolute right not to testify, and if you do not wish to testify, the judge or jury cannot hold your silence against you. You'd have a right to have any of the witnesses for or against you subpoenaed to come to court so they could be questioned under oath. You would have the right to be presumed innocent if and until the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Each of you have a right to counsel. Attorneys have been appointed to represent you. You could also hire an attorney of your own choosing if you wish. Now, let me repeat, Mr. Kessling, my understanding is they're going to dismiss the assault and battery charge for a plea to malicious destruction of property less than $200. Mr. Casey Johnson is here from the prosecutor's office. Mr. Johnson, is that your understanding?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Jordan, is that yours as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Kessling, are you going to plead to malicious destruction of property?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me what happened.
It's unfortunate events happen between families, and I just lost my temper.
This happened in the Myers parking lot?
Yes.
All right. What were you mad about?
I'd been robbed at my place of residence.
Well, robbed is a specific legal term. It means somebody took property from you by force, like a gun or a threat. So what really happened is someone stole some of your property?
Yes, a lot of it.
And you believed it was Austin Eby?
And some counterparts, yes. Tony Swoop.
How old is this boy?
21.
Okay. All right. Well, then what happened there at the Meyer parking lot?
We just got into an altercation.
Did you run over his bike with your car?
May have, apparently.
And did that injure or destroy the bike?
I'm not sure, Your Honor.
Well, he says in his victim impact statement that the bike and some other property got injured. You said you ran over his bicycle on the way out.
Yeah, I didn't see if I damaged it, or I didn't, hadn't meant to, but.
All right. Casey, is that acceptable as a plea?
I believe it establishes the factual basis, yes.
All right. I'll accept the plea. Jordan, are you satisfied?
Yes, Your Honor.
What would you like me to know?
Well, Your Honor, Mr. Kessling has been one of my better clients in terms of communication with me. He's always calling and emailing to follow up on the status of his case. He got a hold of me shortly after the pretrial in March, indicating he wished to accept the offer. He reports he is working. I'd ask the court to consider that if the restitution amount requested is the $193, it's of more benefit to the other party if he's out working and able to get that restitution paid in a timely manner. I would ask for fines and costs, and if the court feels a non-reporting probation to monitor payments is appropriate, I believe that would be satisfactory. However, I think it's of more benefit for Mr. Kessling to continue working so we can get everything paid off that he needs to.
Mr. Johnson, I had hoped that perhaps Austin Eby would be here today, but apparently he's not. What's the prosecutor's input?
Well, Your Honor, I think the facts of this particular incident are, not particularly flattering to Mr. Kessling. Young Mr. Eby approached him in the Meyer parking lot. He knocked him over with his door of his truck. They proceeded to get into a fight. I believe Mr. Kessling got out of the vehicle and essentially jumped Mr. Eby, and Mr. Eby fought back, and a bystander told him to knock it off, and then Mr. Kessling drove off and ran over Mr. Eby's possessions. I think that my position on this is almost solely Mr. Kessling doesn't have much of a record, and that's to his benefit here. I feel like it's not that I'm inclined to say, well, you get a free one, because this incident is very concerning and these facts are not great. But the fact that there's not a pattern in his record of this kind of behavior makes me think that perhaps he thought that he had some things stolen from him, and I think mistakenly accused Mr. Eby of doing so, and I think he probably just wasn't in his right mind. Given that, he's taken responsibility, and we do have a restitution request, and assuming he at least takes responsibility for that, I'd give him credit, and I think, ultimately, I would just defer. I think I would just defer to the court as to what the court thinks is the best punishment here.
Do you know, is Mr. Eby special needs or developmentally disabled, or I couldn't really tell? He had trouble filling out the paperwork.
Yeah, I don't have an answer on that. I've gotten some conflicting information.
Mr. Kessling, if I figure this out, you were or are dating Mr. Eby's mother?
Yes, Your Honor.
But he doesn't live with his mother, he lives with his grandparents.
No, he was with the girlfriend.
All right. At this time, back in September, did he live with his parents or his grandparents?
I'm not 100% sure, Your Honor.
But he did not live where you lived?
No, he had already moved out of my place.
All right. And the property that was stolen from where you live?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you believe that Mr. Eby and others stole it?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's what you're upset about?
Yes. And there was firearms and a few other really important things to me that were taken. And that's where my anger came from, and it was out of line.
Well, did he ever admit that he took the stuff?
Yeah.
Was it ever recovered?
No. I'm working on that. Working on a case for it.
You said a firearm was stolen?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's not good.
No,
well, he's not here. How long were you in jail before you posted the bond?
Today.
Arrested 11/2, bonded later. All right, I don't know what to make of this. He's not here. I never did see the video. I guess it was all living color on the Meyer security camera. Assault and battery charge was dismissed. I'm just going to go with 1 day credit, 1 day. There's a $100 fine, a $75 crime victims' rights fee, a $50 state minimum fee, $150 attorney fee, $200 restitution to Austin Evie. $575. I believe I have a no, you have $200. It's 10% bond, so $180 is available to apply to that. Equals $395 that's due. Can you pay that by June 1? Mr. Kessling, can you pay the balance of the restitution and fines and costs by June 1st?
Yeah. Yes, Your Honor, I can do that. Yes, Your Honor, I'll be able to do that.
Or 5 days in jail. I'm not ordering anything else. This is a family situation. This isn't the way to handle it.
I understand.
Are you still on Sevison Road?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Evie's mother still lives with you?
Yes.
I'm assuming he's not welcome there.
Not legally right now.
All right. All right, Mr. Kessling, you're good to go. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. I'll see you next week. Have a
Thank you.
good 3-day weekend.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Minsky, are you ready to go?
Yes, Your Honor.
This is file 201404SM, People versus Michael J. Minsky. Mr. Luke Knopfinger is here as counsel on your behalf. The allegation is that on June 22nd of 2020 that you assaulted Andrea Rigasecker, an individual with whom you had a dating relationship. As a second offense, that's a misdemeanor punishable by up to a year in jail and a fine of up to $1,000. If I understand correctly, the prosecutors offered to dismiss the DV second in exchange for a plea to domestic violence first offense. Is that correct, Mr. Johnson?
Yes, Your Honor.
Domestic violence first offense is a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. You've already got the firearm restriction from the, well, no, this would put a firearm restriction on your license or on your ability to use or possess a firearm. Luke, is that your understanding of the plea agreement?
There's a little more to it, somewhat of a creative solution. The recommendation as part of the plea deal is for a non-reporting probation that includes a no contact with the victim. Mr. Minsky lives on the east side of the state. And going through my notes, there wasn't a term of probation in terms of the length of that probation, but for that to be the disposition. This is included in a global resolution that settles a felony case as well.
This resolves a circuit court case as well, the R&O case?
No, we are going to set a plea in that case as well to MDOP, but this is the first step along the way. And Casey is nodding his head.
Yes, that's accurate. Yes, and also there's a no upfront jail rec here as well. So
All right, well, that's, other than that, Mr. Minsky, did anybody promise you anything to get you to plead to this?
Not other than that, no.
Anybody threaten you to try to get you to plead to this?
No, Your Honor.
All right, and I told you your rights. You understand you're giving those up by entering this plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, tell me what happened between you and, were you and Andrea living together at your house on Elkhart Street at that time?
We had no longer been living there. She had moved out, then came back on and off a few times, and she was staying in a camper down the street at my buddy Brad's house.
And what happened on June 22nd?
What had happened is the night before, she had come to me pleading, hit me up out of the blue, saying that she wanted to leave town. She wanted to get away from the area because of a lot of the stuff we've been going through with the cops continuously and being harassed. And it was just, she was over it. And she said she had family and down out of state she could go to. And she pled with me. And I ended up giving her $900 so she could leave town. And she was leaving me that camper when she left. And I just wanted her to have a fresh start. I gave her every dollar to my name at the time. And then the next morning I get over there and she's buying party supplies and hooting it up with whoever, and just like blew through all my money on a bunch of crap after, I'm a single dad and she's just living here in a camper doing nothing with her life. And I was kind of PO'd about it. And she was wearing some booty shorts. And so we got into an argument, and pretty much I grabbed her on the ass. Grabbed her on her butt. And we got into an argument, and then I said, fine, I'm leaving. And then I went to go get the camper, and she'd screamed, call the cops. He's trying to steal my camper. And then it got turned into some kind of domestic after that. And I wasn't even there.
Was Christine Hamilton the inspector lady there?
No, she was Brad's girlfriend.
Oh, says you grabbed her by the crotch and threw her on the ground.
Her account of it was just from Andrea's secondhand, from what Andrea had told her.
Well, it says the witness, Christine Hamilton, stated she witnessed the assault by Minsky grabbing her by the crotch and flipping her on the ground. At any rate, you put your hands on her and you pushed her down?
No, I didn't push her down, Your Honor. I did grab her
from
butt.
Behind?
I grabbed her butt from behind and pulled her towards me, yes.
All right. I'll accept the plea. I've got some concerns. You mentioned, Mr. Minsky, that you felt that the cops were hassling you, and I had tended to agree with that sometimes. But then I started looking at how many entries there are under your name. There's about 40 of them. This is the 5th time you've been charged with domestic violence. Different girls, but back in 2010 I put you on a domestic violence probation, which you did complete. You got charged in 2009 with domestic assault on a previous girlfriend. That was dismissed by the prosecutor. You got charged with domestic violence again in 2009. You pled to disturbing the peace. Then you got a domestic violence in 2018 with an uncooperative victim. That was a second offense, dismissed by the prosecutor. Then you got charged with domestic violence again, second offense in 2019. You pled, it was dismissed by the prosecutor. Then you had a resisting and obstructing in 2019 that was dismissed by the prosecutor. And then you have this new felonious assault motor vehicle fraud that you bound over to circuit court on. That happened on July 7th of 2020, and this happened on 6/22 of 20. So this is almost a year old. You've also got a driving suspended charge pending in front of Judge Pattison, and you're sitting in the driver's seat of your car right now, and your license is still suspended, and you're pending sentence in May on a driving suspended charge. So
Yeah.
you keep getting stopped by the cops because you keep doing dumb stuff. So,
Yeah, Your Honor,
I don't, yes?
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I have all my clearance cards. I paid off all my fines to get my license back. I have clearance cards you guys just mailed to me a couple days ago.
We entered a plea in the driving suspended, and it was a delayed sentence, so that Mr. Minsky could get his license back.
All right. Samantha, could you run a current driving record on Mr. Minsky? Let's see if he's cleared. Michael J. Minsky, if you could email it to me or put it in OnBase. Casey, what do you want me to do with this non-reporting probation? I'm not sure what that accomplishes.
Well, I think that in my discussion with Gary about this, I think his thought process was that I think we'd like the court to order he do anger management, do some of the do the things that I think we would normally have him do, or at least some of the things, whatever the court feels is necessary, and perhaps provide that documentation.
Well, he doesn't live here anymore. You're over in Wayne County someplace working on a project. What are you doing right now?
Mm-hmm.
I'm employed out here. I do construction, remodel hotels.
All right, where's your project right now?
What do you mean?
Where are you working right now?
Right now I'm in at a house residence, doing a small just flooring job, but I'm at the Victory Inn most of the time. I got 75 rooms to do there, and I got 3 other hotels from the same company, all out here on the eastern side of the state that I'm remodeling.
Where's the Victory Hotel?
On Michigan Avenue and Dearborn.
All right.
If I may, Your Honor, it was, and most of the negotiations occurred between me and Chief Assistant Gabry. I think the idea was to have the non-reporting probation to have a no contact order between Mike and Andrea so that there would be recourse if there would be contact.
Yes, and I agree. That was the other component, was to keep tabs on that.
Thank you, Sarah. Well, the current status of your license is it's expired. It's very lengthy. All right. You cleared one up, failed to comply with judgment on March 16th. This is hard to read, it jumps around. You cleared another one up on March 16th. You paid off 3 tickets that you had here in St. Joe County in March, so that's helpful, although your license still isn't valid. Have you gone to the Secretary of State to get it back?
I've been trying to time it out to get into one. I just taken care of this a couple weeks ago, so I haven't really had a chance to get in. I'm having trouble with my being able to make an appointment because of the fact that I missed mine on January 20th. They don't allow me to make another appointment because I didn't cancel ahead of time. So trying to get in there, it's just been kind of tricky trying to line it all up.
Well, I feel bad when people lie to me every day. You don't have a driver's license. You can't drive a car. You cleared off all your tickets and gave yourself the privilege of getting your license back, but you didn't actually go get it. And then you're telling me how wonderful you are. You're driving all over the place. But this isn't about the driving suspended. This is about the other case. I'll let Judge Pattison know. So you just keep doing what you want to do, which is why you have all those 40 different things on your record. It probably did make sense to get out of White Pigeon, where you were a very large fish in a very small pond, and they kept giving you a ticket every other day. But like I said, if you want to quit getting a ticket, quit doing the stuff like driving. So I'm sure you're driving to every project you're working on. You don't have a valid license. And Casey, did you get any input from Ms. Rigasecker?
I didn't think so. I just wanted to make sure there was nothing else that had come in. No, Your Honor.
I think, well, if I may, I think that Mr. Gabriel had contact with Andrea in the felony case when he was interviewing her trial schedule. So I don't know if there are notes in there. I'm not sure how on-base works or how it all works, but I think there was contact through that case.
He did indicate to me in speaking yesterday that the victim was consulted and was, okay with this.
All right, very good, very good. Well, I don't exactly know what to do with this. I don't know what I'm going to do with a non-reporting probation. As I indicated, this is the 5th time or 6th time you've been charged with this. I guess if I looked up wrestling moves, I'm not sure what the crotch grab slam is called, but this isn't real good. But I sort of take him at his word about what she did with his $900. I already sent him to anger management once, about 10 years ago. To his credit, he completed it. I'm going to do a 12-month non-reporting probation, although you have to report initially. No driving unless licensed, which you're going to drive away as soon as I hang up. "21 days, credit 1. Of the 21 days, 20 are deferred. Condition of probation is no contact with Andrea Rigasecker." No assault or threatening behavior, no alcohol, no controlled substances. $100 fine, $75 crime victims' rights fee, $50 state minimum fee, $150 attorney fee, and a $480 probation oversight fee. $855. Do you still own the place on Elkhart Street?
Yes, Your Honor, but it's being put up for sale.
Well, we had all
signed a
those
lease out there
zoning
in,
issues
Dearborn.
there. Luke, do you have his phone? No, I'll just ask. The last four numbers of your address, 9700. Mr. Minsky?
My address or my phone number?
No, your phone number, I'm sorry.
No, that number is no longer valid.
Luke, do you have his number?
I do, yeah.
All right, he'll give it to me. Probation Department's gonna contact you. There's no, I'm doing an oversight fee, even though it's non-reporting, which doesn't make any sense, but it could be discharged if you get placed on a circuit court probation. No assault or threatening behavior, no alcohol, no content with angry or rigosecker, and any test if they do ever direct one. And you can't drive, or it's a direct violation of your probation, which you're gonna do in about 5 minutes, unless you get your license. So I don't know what we accomplished, but I used to live in Dearborn upon a time when I was in law school. Haven't been there in many years. All right, Mr. Minsky, anything else you want to know?
No, Your Honor.
Luke?
Nothing, thank you. I just emailed. Next contact.
All right. All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. I'll see. I guess we got a full boat this afternoon with all the last pre-trials.
We
Did you
should
get
do.
my, oh, I don't know if you have any. I think there's a couple county cases on Tyrone Valentine. They
I
were
was-
mostly ordinance, but I thought there were one or two that were county cases.
And there might have been, I need to go and look at those. I'm
Well, they were
not
gonna
sure.
let him out, but I asked him to hold on to him until we can see him this afternoon.
Yeah,
And as you saw, I asked Lisa to take a look at it.
yeah. Well, I think that makes sense for everybody. Make sure he's here. So,
All right, I'll see you this afternoon after lunch. Thanks.
good. Thank you.
All right, that completes our morning. We will have a very busy afternoon with last pre-trials, including one defendant that has about 18 separate charges. So we will stop the live stream and we will resume at about 1.